Hey, how's it going? Um, I hope I'm on. All right, listen, folks, I will be right back. I was in a conversation with a friend that I haven't seen in probably 25 years. No, probably 20 some years. So I'm going to go get a fresh cup of tea and I will be right back. So please excuse me. Oh, girls, get down. Get down. Go lay down. You'll be a bad. Get the wall. You want to go pee outside? Come on, let's have her tea. I'm coming. I'll be right there. Be right there. I'm coming. Oh, shut up, dog. Shut up. You're not part of the conversation. Stop it. Hey, Grace, chill. Seriously. Hey, mommy said. Don't make me spill my tea, you little buggers. Not you guys, the dogs. Sorry, I'm late. I had a friend. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to book club. How about that? Book club. I'm sorry I'm late. I saw give me a second. I got a friend request on the Beverly Wolfe Facebook page from a friend from kindergarten. I have almost no friends left from my life before my mother died. And she only lives 2 hours away, and I haven't seen her in like 20 years, but she found me, right? And so we were talking, and I'm sorry I'm late, and I set up the feed, and then of course my nothing worked, and and then of course when I realized I was live, I was like, oh, I don't even have a cup of tea. So how's everybody doing? Dallas, Bourbon, Brittany Lee, hi from Oklahoma. Hi, Celeste. Hey, Suburban. Hey, Candace. Hi, Lori. Hi, Kelly. Now, I'm sorry if I missed the opening thing, and be grateful that I shut the bathroom door because I usually don't. And you might have got a bit of an eyeful there. I have the sniffles, excuse me, so you're going to see me honking a lot, and my nose is already getting red and dry. That's our life, you bet. Hi, how are you? Have you thought of reading the Boxcar Children? I don't even know the Boxcar Children, and I'm going to tell you something. Hi, Mary. Hi, Kim. Hi, Linda Mick. How's it going? Let me tell you something. I started this channel, I don't know, a few years ago, and I'm really loving it. And my son gave me a really good piece of advice because my daughter in love is listening to the Anna Green Gables series, and yeah, I'm actually really enjoying revisiting it. I haven't read it in a long time, but they said to, Mom, be sure and enjoy it. Don't rush it, because when you start rushing, it's going to show in your reading. So just enjoy it. If you could only do 3 chapters a week, some weeks like this week, you can only do 1. That's fine too. But don't rush it, because you're gonna lessen the enjoyability for yourself and everybody else. I got coyotes giving me problems. I disappear, they come back. Jeez. Coyotes are pains in the ass, almost as a pain in the ass as raccoons. Can you read the Orphan Train series? Now, this is what I want to talk about. There are books I can read, and there's books I can't. Okay, I can only read books in the Canadian public domain, for starters. And I have been reading The Pioneer Girl, the original Laura Ingalls stuff. And oh man, did they switch a lot of crap out. They changed characters, names, all kinds of stuff. The stories are based on her life, but they left a lot of the meat off the bones, that's for sure. Anyway, excuse me if I sound like I have a cold, because I do. So the thing is I've already got 3 of the Anna Green Gables books, at least 2. The Little Women series is a lot longer than you think. And then there's the C.S. Lewis Narnia series that I'd like to do. And then I'd like to do some Jane Austen. I have no idea. Maybe some of the Bronte sisters and stuff. There's just so much out there that I could read 24/7 and edit 24/7, and I would probably die. I'm probably going to die before I get through all the books. So you can send me requests, but I have the next year already lined up, and that's Anne of Green Gables, Little Women, and Narnia. And I'm not sure if I think the Narnia might come between Anne of Green Gables and Little Women, just for a continuity breakup. Hey, Lisa, how's it going? Hi from Texas. Hey, Tex girl. Hi, Mary Jane. Yay! Potato and cheddar soup. Did you get that from Costco? Because Briar and I were looking at it yesterday. Oh, my dogs. They know I'm online. They know I'm on live stream, and they gotta be in the picture. Now, see, they've come back to see if I'm paying attention to the fact that they're barking. You're being bad. So anyway, Mary Jane, do you remember my little redheaded friend that was it was the next street over on Levain? Do you remember Carolyn? She got a hold of me today. And I'm telling you, man, the connection never lost it. We went from kindergarten. I think we went to kindergarten together. We went from kindergarten to grade 6 together, and I had to leave before we graduated grade 6 together because we moved. And Skitters. Hi, Skitters. Kitty, 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 kitty. Meow. 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 Sorry, I got to say hi to all the cats in the room because they seem to like me for some reason. Yes, Lisa, thank you. I got your marshmallow email. I have to remember to put it in a folder so I don't lose it because I'd really like to try that. I would really like, because I have some ideas for gifts in the holiday seasons and stuff. So, Pioneer Girl, if you're talking about the Laura Ingalls Wilder actual annotated autobiography, no, I cannot. It was published in 2014. And I don't think there's any way I can get around that. And it would be a really difficult book to read because unless you read just her writing and not all the factual annotations on the other side, but I don't know if there's a Pioneer Girl series that is by somebody else. I have no idea. Yes, they do. Right on top of homemade hot chocolate mix too. I was thinking. Oh, my nose is so sore. You know, I forgot about something. Remember we were talking about I'm a little foggy, guys. I'm not feeling well. I'm in a lot of pain. I went shopping yesterday. Top it. Top it, top it. We were talking about Charles Ing. Can you sew the cat meow again? I just love cats and you really can do. Okay, just this once, okay? Meow, 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 meow. That's it. Yeah, I know. It's a cat sound. Oh, I had a real. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat, and I don't want to read too much of the too much of the chat because then I'll just sit here and you'll see me. You'll get nothing but a video of me reading. Hi, Jody Bean. How are you, darling? So I have. We were talking about Charles Ingalls and his capability as a father. And he was a very capable man, but I mean, you know, he could have provided a lot better. And there was one scene in The Long Winter, and I haven't read that part in the actual autobiography yet, but there was one in the book, The Long Winter. I don't know if it's true or not. Oh yeah, I did read it, and she didn't say anything about it. But Charles Ingalls, when he went and got the seed out of the Monzo Wilder's wall behind the feed store, he got the wheat. He sat down to ham and pancakes or bacon and it was ham and pancakes and ate a full meal. I would have been saying, well, sit up and eat with us. There's plenty downstairs in the cellar and a teacup kind of thing. And then he went home and ate his share of the bread that they were living on. Now, I understand that he had to, he had to do the haying, like, go out in all weathers and bring hay and twist hay and look after animals and stuff. But I'm sorry, one ham steak? I would have said, hey, guys, I'll really gladly enjoy the pancakes, but you got to let me take that ham steak home to my family. And that one ham steak would have made a hell of a pot of stew, or at least, a pot of flavored water with ham chunks in it for a long time to go. You know what I mean? All right. So there, I got that off my chest because every time I read that and he sits down, not once, but twice, when his family's starving and eats a full meal of pancakes and meat, the Essex, the UK. Hi. Now, is that Whitsiers? Kim? Is that your name? The book about the guy teaching school on the prairie is called Don't Shoot the Teacher. You can watch the movie on YouTube. Really? Yeah, ham and beans goes a long way. But at this point, they were living on a loaf of bread a day, pretty much. They were like maybe two in a family of six. And we still talked about the fact that he had a cow and a heifer. He had a pregnant cow and a heifer in the barn. I would have killed the heifer. I'm sorry. My family comes first. I don't know. I he must have. But I mean, in reality, though, if you think about it, he was doing a lot more hard physical labor than the rest of his family, right? He was going down the line on a push cart and helping them try to dig out the Tracy cut so the train could get through to bring food. So I mean, he probably lost more weight than anybody. So if I look at it that way, you know, I still would ask for the steak to go home to my family, but maybe that's the woman in me, right? I don't know. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Kim. That's a great name. When you meowed, my cat jumped on my keyboard. Oops. Sorry. So, how many of you say yes if you listen to A Tree Grows in Brooklyn? Because that was a whole other ball game. That would be like the next generation, probably be closer to Rose Wilder's generation, which in which no, well, maybe that when you say men didn't respect their families as much as they do now, I don't think it's the family so much as it is women in general. And you got to remember, he was surrounded by them, right? But um, he had beef on the hoof, more on the way. No, the milk he couldn't have because the cow was dried up. The cow dried up around Christmas because you gotta milk them the same time twice a day. You gotta give them like lots and lots of water, and you gotta remember they were melting snow for their water, right? So I mean, how much did the cow get? And there were two of them, and he had horses too, and the horses were earning their keep at that point. I would have butchered the heifer right then and there. My tree grows in Brooklyn. Hey, Patriot Chick. Hi, Bryant. Donna. A tree grows in Brooklyn. Everybody knows it's one of my favorite stories because I really related to Francie, but from a Toronto perspective. And I just love that book. And I got a lot, there's a lot of education about how they talk to their kids about sex. They didn't. How they, like if you think about it, Francie's mother, Katie, was way ahead of her time. She refused to let Francie say that her father was drunk. He was always sick. Well, me as a 21-year sober alcoholic gets that. Alcoholism is a disease. Okay. And it's just a psychological one. It is a physical disease. It's an allergy, actually, if you do it. So, and then Katie, when the kids would ask questions as they got older, she didn't know the right words like vagina and penis and stuff. So she gave her kids the sex talk unflinchingly in the only language she understood, right? The only language she knew for body parts, but she did give them that information when they needed it. You know, I just really had a lot of admiration for Katie. Um, well, that's what I was thinking, Rebecca. I'm pretty sure that he had to. He had to. There was probably some points where he damn near went, like there was that one scene where they were all sitting around the stove and he finally cracked and went, "Howl, damn you. We're all safe and we're alive inside. You can't get to us." And then and they were like, "Calm down, Charles, calm down," his wife was, right? Like he had to be at his breaking point, knowing that he had, four children and a wife to feed and there was no food, right? But then again, he had two cows. Sorry. Sorry. I don't know the headspace. Yes, it would have put them behind a year, because ideally they would want, two cows milking so that there would always be one when one was bred and gone dry for breeding and stuff, right? But I still, Man. I I would have been going out and, like, punching a hole in the juggler or something of the cow and saying, "Oh, dads, sorry I missed with the pitchfork." You know what I mean? "Oh, well, we gotta eat it now." There we go, right? That's that simple. Um, so and how is what else have we read besides all the Little House in the Prairie book? Oh, did everybody like A Lantern in Her Hand? I really enjoyed that book too. But as far as future readings go, I have, I believe it is chapter 10. It is recorded. I just have to edit it and then upload it. So it'll probably be Monday. And hopefully Monday, if I get my video work done for our half acre homestead, hopefully Monday I will be able to read another 3 chapters and get them edited for the rest of the week. The way it looks like it's going to work is I'll read 3, but I'll have uploaded 1 for Monday already, and so I will edit and upload 2 and edit the 3rd and have it up ready for Monday so that I can sit down again on Monday. Monday seems to be my reading day. I don't think how sad that Laura had to go to work to help put Mary through college. You know what? She didn't see it that way. Like, she didn't want to. She was a rebellious 13-year-old. I get that. But the fact that she accepted responsibility for most of that family, like her and her mother were, I mean, she worked more than her mother. Well, not really, but I mean, she was always there. She was either taking Mary for a walk so she could get her air and describing things to her, or she was sewing Mary's rag rugs together that she braided, or she was sewing for Mary's clothes to go away with her mom. All these things, or she was looking after Grace, or she was defending Carrie in school, or you know, Laura Ingalls Wilder was a stalwart spirit. She really, really was. I once lived on free coffee chips from, not going to mention the name because people get upset, restaurant, because restaurant had no food 2 entire weeks. I now stock and overstock. I don't overstock. I'm not like what you would call a prepper, but I don't like going out in the winter. And the fact that I didn't get my second Costco shopping in before winter set in, because winter came early this year. We had like freezing temperatures and heavy snows in November. So we had to go out yesterday, and the wind almost closed. Well, I couldn't get out of the truck unless Howie held the door open because the wind kept slamming it on me. It showed the strength of a mother. People don't want to work at life anymore. Well, excuse me, that's a real big generalization. No, I don't have any elderberry syrup, and I'm still planting shrubberies and fruit trees, and elderberries are going to be one of the things that I plant. Laugh a lot. Don't be sorry. That was so funny. What did I just say? That was so funny. But people there's a lot. Okay. I was reading about the Generation X. See, I'm a baby boomer, believe it or not. 1964. I'm a baby boomer. I'm one of the last of the baby boomers. As a matter of fact, Mary Jane will tell you that she's a baby boomer and I'm a baby boomer, but the last baby born after us is not a baby boomer. I think he's Generation X, or what's the next generation after the baby boomers? But they call this generation Generation Y. Why do I gotta work? Why won't you buy me a phone? Why do I gotta pay my own bills? Why do I gotta give good customer service? Why do I gotta listen to my parents? Why do I gotta go to school? Why? Generation Y, right? That's one thing I'm really, really grateful for, is that my sons have amazing ethics when it comes to, pulling your weight. They really do. Not necessarily at home. Like, I mean, when they come here, they're mommy's babies again, right? So, unless I'm like, "Hey, guys, I need help. Can you load the dishwasher or unload the dishwasher?" Or, "Hey, guys, can you come and lift this?" They're quite content to let mommy be mummy and cook their favorite foods and bake their favorite treats and play their favorite games because I just love being with my kids. I really do. Um, okay, Suburban Hill. Ah, Kelly, you're a baby boomer too. Oh, well, I'm glad you've loved all the books so far. Um, I haven't decided again, like it's really difficult. This is another thing I have a problem with. That this is why like people are going to ask me to jump right in from Anne of Green Gables to Little Women and I'm not going to be able to. For the simple reason is I have to do a complete change of styles of reading, okay? And going from one all these books about women and children and growing up and all this stuff, it's kind of hard to get the feel for the next author, especially when I'm in a headspace of Anna Green Gables. Reading Little Women's going to actually be difficult, so I want to be at my best. So I think I'm going to do the Narnia series just because it's fantasy and there's a lot of really good morals in it. I read the Narnia series when I was 16. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, and all those, the Lion King, not the Lion King, but you know what I mean. And I loved those books, even as someone who was already reading Stephen King. Right? I could escape in Narnia, and I just love those books. It's actually, thank you, Lisa. You say that I put so much emotion into my readings that it makes it more interesting. Well, the thing is, hey, Patriot Chick, Howie's 1967 too. He's a Generation X. I'm a baby boomer. Yeah, I robbed the cradle. I did shamelessly. Got him when he was 23 and raised him up just like a good old hound dog. Just kidding. Yeah. Try living in a car with 5 cats, a 150-pound dog for a year. I had number 5 from Tim Horton. Yeah, I remember, Jane. A number 5 from Tim Hortons: tea or coffee, soup, donut, and a tea biscuit. And you ate that. You bought that in the morning and you made that last all day. I remember that. I remember that. One of these days, Jane, we're going to talk about your story, your life story, because this, folks, Mary Jane is one fascinating person. And she has lived. She's died, she's lived, she's died, she's rose from the ashes, and she just keeps on fucking trucking. Hey, Mary Jane, you're my hero, man. Um, yeah, not safe though. Not safe. I would get that. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about it one day because Mary Jane and I want to do, if we can figure out how to Skype or have her on while I'm doing this. I'm very new at this, but we're going to do a whole thing on mental illness and how it affects not just you if you're living with it yourself, but the other people in because we come from a family with a lot of mental health problems, and I'm pretty sure everyone does. They're just, a lot of people act because they don't know how to be. You understand what I'm saying? They act as if they know how to be. Like there's some people out there who just don't understand the concept of love, right? And they watch and they look and they treat their kids and their family and everything the way they think they're supposed to. But eventually, the acting has to stop, right? And so when you live, that's a form of mental illness. Okay. So when you live with these kind of things growing up, no one is untouched. No one. Even if there's only one person with mental health issues in a family of 20, it affects every single person and everybody that comes into contact with that person on one level or another. Right. So we always ask, why, why? Well, you know what? Pretty sure that, we are given no more than we can handle. Hi, Alexis. Oh, God. George R. R. Martin Game of Thrones series. No, I could not because the guy's still writing it. Or it's still in the TV thing. I don't know. And you know what? I wish I could. I would like to do Tolkien. I would like to do Tolkien, but that's like way down the road because I haven't even read those books yet. How he forced me to watch the movies over and over again. I actually really love them though. Your family tree is a nut tree? Well, we all have them. And that's the thing. Okay. And the truth is, ignoring mental illness, no matter how mild it is not doing anybody any favors. Nobody. Okay? Because it doesn't get dealt with. It doesn't get brought out into the light of day to burn off the fungus and the mold. You know what I mean? It just sits there and molders in the family. RA hard to type. What is RA? Oh, your rheumatoid arthritis. Duh. Yeah, I know. So we were talking about books. But I mean, isn't that life? I don't know what I would do without books. I know that when we moved from Toronto, oops, there, they finally settled down. Sorry for the seasickness. When we moved from Toronto, I lived at my aunt and uncle's to finish grade 6. The last 2 months of grade 6, April and May, June. Yeah, about 2.5 months. And then we moved up to a small town called Apsley, Ontario. And I'm telling you, going from down like the industrial blue collar district of Toronto. And when I say Toronto, I don't mean Etobicoke. I mean like Papenkeen, Toronto. And you take that kid and you put them in the woods, with only 2 TV channels. You got to figure out what you want to do with your spare time, especially when at first you don't really know anybody. I'll never forget. But I read a lot. That's what I was going to say. I would come home. I read obsessively. I mean, I would get caught reading with my book in my lap, right, at school. And my teacher, God bless Jean Henning, okay, because she kept me moving forward, with tolerance and love and dignity. She knew I wasn't all there. She knew I was borderline personality disorder, I guess, or borderline bipolar or ADDHD before they knew what it was, all that stuff, right? Because I just come from living in a district where, I had 10 times the acceptable amount of lead in my bloodstream from my school playground. I wish Carolyn was on here because she would remember us getting our fingers pricked. I wonder how much lead was in her bloodstream because we went to school together. But anyway, that's what I did. I read and I read and I read and I still read. That was one of the hardest things that Howie had to get used to was I read every night when I go to bed. And I'm a little OCD, okay, because I do have a borderline personality disorder or borderline bipolar, whatever it is. So when I travel between the fibromyalgia, the arthritis, the borderline bipolar disorder, okay, if I'm sleeping somewhere, like in a motel, I have to have the bed that has the bedside side table on the left. I have to be closest to the bathroom. There's things I have to do, and I have to have my book, and I have to have my snack to take my pills. Those are all things so that I can be familiar in the moment enough to catch a couple hours sleep. So, I mean, Deborah E., you listen to books on tape that you download from your library. Well, see, I started reading the Little House on the Prairie books. Hi, Pink Marshmallow. What more could I ask for? A glass of wine and Mrs. V. Just love you. Well, thank you, Pink Marshmallow. But, oh yeah, I was going to tell you, when we first moved to Apsley, I was 12. And before we moved there, my dad and my cousin Bob, God rest his soul, Bob, I miss you to this day, and me, who was 12, went to the nearest neighbor of the property we were looking at to ask about, how was the water, blah, 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 right? And while they were talking, there were two girls that were peeking out the kitchen window. And unbeknownst to me, they're like, oh, isn't he cute? Because I had short hair, right? Isn't he cute? Oh, I hope he moves in next door. And I was budding, but I was wearing one of my dad's old Toronto Hydro work shirts, so you couldn't tell. I was wearing jeans and I had a bandana hanging out of my back pocket, and I was wearing an open work shirt with a t-shirt on. I didn't wear makeup at 12, right? So once we started building the house and it was livable enough, like we had dropped, when we first started moving in it, there was hardly any insulation. There was insulated and the roof was on, but there was like bare studding everywhere, right? And so I finally got up the guts, but I couldn't remember her name. I met the little girl, right? And her name was Geraldine, but I couldn't remember her name because it was such an uncommon name for me at the time. So I went over, and I guess her mother had heard, B Tucker had been heard her and Brenda saying, "Oh wow, I hope he moves in next door." Blah blah blah, right? So when we finally did get to the point where we could live there, 3-4 months later, I went over to see if she could come out to play, right? I mean, I was 12. I was still playing. I was learning how to knit and making sweaters for my teddy bear. You know what I mean? Anyway, excuse me. I went over and knocked on the door, and Geraldine's mom, B, came to the door. And she said, "Yes." And she had this half smirk on her face because she's like, "Here's a little boy at my door," right? This is what she's thinking, right? And I said, I couldn't remember Geraldine's name. So I said, "Can your daughter come out to play?" and to this day, I'll never forget that she told me years later, she said, "Oh, that impertinent little bugger, he's a fast worker. Can my daughter come out to play?" So she said, "Just a minute." And she went in the kitchen, and that's what she said to her daughter. "He's a fast worker." And she goes, "Mom, it's a girl." It's a girl. Oh my goodness, And I've always been a tomboy. I've always been a tomboy. But one thing, I had friends and cousins who always had to have their nails just so, excuse me, and always wore makeup and always had to have their hair. You know me, don't look at my hair, right? I don't even wear jewelry anymore because it's a pain in the butt. But I remember Howie telling me once, I said, "Well, I wish I was more feminine, like, cousin so-and-so and that." And he goes, "Bev," he said, you may be, outspoken and vivacious and boisterous, even boisterous at times. But he said, there's one thing you always are, and that's feminine. He said, there is no mistaking you for anything other than, a dyed in the wool woman, for sure. Here's my husband. He's out in the shop working on Moonshadow. Hope you didn't click it too hard. Click what too hard? If you're bipolar as I am, please read The Unquiet Mind by Kay Jameson. Well, thing is, I don't know if I'm bipolar, and I don't care to be diagnosed because I've been on a certain antidepressant now for 26 years. No, Briar's going to be 27 in February. So 27 years. Okay. And I, uh, I don't care to know because those are doing their job. And I know for a fact that when they tried to change my sleep medication for my insomnia, I had a full scale meltdown over a 3-month period before I realized that, oh God, okay. Because everybody said, oh, it was a sleep medication. So everybody never assumed anything. But the thing is, what they gave me, I think it was trazodone or something, is actually an antidepressant. And it's supposed to work okay with my antidepressant, but it didn't. And all Howie saw was that it was a sleeping pill, and he's like, "No, it's working though. You're doing fine." I said, "There's something wrong with this medication." He said, "Bev, you're sleeping 6 hours, at least 3 times a week." I said, "But I don't feel right." And it wasn't until I almost went homicidal, all because Nan and Karen made an unexpected visit. Like I wasn't informed before. Like usually we made arrangements and they told us when they were coming up. They showed up at supper time on a Sunday night and went, surprise! And I was like, and that was it. That was all the trigger I needed after 3 months on a new medication. And I went berserk. Everybody just sat really still and was very quiet because it was like, everybody's like, don't, talk to the crazy lady in the room kind of thing. So my antidepressants work to the point where I know I don't mess with my medications. And I actually considered going into a medical facility to be taken off the lorazepam for my insomnia and the Lulox for my my depression or my whatever it is, right? And I talked to a lot of people in the know about this kind of thing, and they said, don't do it. And I said, why? And they said, is your medication working? I said, well, yeah, unless I take something like a non-drowsy Sudafed or something, and then I go completely berserk. But I know not to take them. And they said, the thing is, Bev, he said, after 27 years on the same medication that has been replacing a chemical in your brain, changing it could be very, very, very difficult and could have long-standing, repercussions, right? So I thought about it and I went, am I happy? Yeah. Am I working through my shit? Yeah. Am I journaling? Yeah. Am I talking through my crap with people? Yeah. Don't stir the shit pot, because when people stir the shit pot, they should be made to lick the spoon, and that's a spoon I don't want to lick. You dig? I'm sorry. I've got a cold. I'm medicating. Okay, I'm missing stuff. It was about my cat on the keyboard. That was so funny. I was saying, don't be sorry about it. And yes, I know what you mean by kids. They want the parents to pay everything these days. You know what? Hi, Nadine. You know what? I'm funny. Hell, you should hear me when I'm doing my stand-up routine for my family. Potty humor. No limitation. No limitations. We went shopping yesterday and we had Briar with us, okay? And my kids were raised up with video games, starting with Nintendo, not Super Nintendo, starting with Nintendo. And I was medicating yesterday and we were driving through downtown Ottawa. Well, not downtown, but like King Edward. And Howie had a few places to go before we could go to Costco. So I just kept opening a window and lighting up, right? Sorry about the smoke. And because I knew it was going to be hell, even though because of the weather and the walking and all that stuff and the long sitting in the car. So anyway, I smoked about 3 joints before we got to Costco. So we're going along somewhere. We're driving through Ottawa somewhere, and there's some workers walking down the street, and one of them has one of those bright reflective vests on, and the other one was wearing the pants. And they both had these like caps on, and I went, look, Briar, it's Mario and Luigi. And they're like, that's not funny, Mom. It's like, I thought it was hilarious. Then I went around a corner and there was a bunch of guys working on something and they all had the reflective vests and pants on. And I said, look, they're multiplying. I just, that's the most innocent of my humor. Okay. I'm, you know, you should hear some of the stuff I come up with. It can be not pretty. So, but, Briar, Briar and Howie and I were coming home from Toronto when we went to pick them up. And I had to medicate because because traveling is really difficult. And I was on this rant about follow the money and it's too late. We've already been sucked into the gear work of how our country now works, and there's no escaping, and we're too old to start over and all this stuff. And then this brightly colored bus went by. I think it was Oriental, and it was going to like the casino. Brightly colored bus went by, and I'm like, and then they just want to keep us poor, sick, and pretty. And Howie and Briar are peeing their pants. So take care, Nadine. But the truth of the matter is, I have prescription muscle relaxers if I need them. I have Robaxacet if I need them. But other than my antidepressants and my sleep meds, this is my cure-all for just about everything. Those are some great books to read. I agree. Okay, good. So anyway, sorry this turned out into a waltz down memory lane. Oh, I got a vacuum yesterday. I got a new vacuum because my dirt devil bit the dust. Literally. It no longer bites the dust as it's supposed to. It just kind of died on me. And the wheels kept falling off. And I've been dealing with the wheels falling off since Christmas. And now it's like 2 strokes, wheels fall off, put them back on, 2 strokes. I'm not doing this anymore. And then the belt went. I said, you know what? That vacuum doesn't owe me a nickel. It's been almost 20 years. I'm going to go to the new vacuum. So I did my research and I got myself a Shark Rocket Deluxe Pro or something. Yes. Oh, what a great little vacuum. And that thing damn near is self-propelled. You don't have to push that thing around. It runs. You got to chase it. You're like this. But I'll tell you something. It sucks really well. I mean, it's great. And you can take the I did a review. It'll be out on our half-acre homestead soon. So yeah, it's a great little vacuum. And I was actually leaning towards saving up for a Dyson. And then I started talking to people and they're like, I had a Dyson and I bought the little Shark for my parents because they're elderly. And I ended up giving them the Dyson because the Shark was more heavy duty and I needed it more than the little, they're just awesome little vacuum cleaners. A Shark Navigator. Ooh, that sounds. Dyson sucks and not in a good way. Yeah, $700 for a vacuum, $500 for a stick vacuum. I went to Costco, baby, $189, and that's $100 cheaper than the price everywhere else, unless it's on sale. So, you made what mistake, Mindy? What Patriot Angel? What mistake did you make? So, I did a video. And I just love it. So it'll be out probably Monday because I'm I wouldn't buy a Dyson. No way. I almost was sold on them. I've been eyeing them up for like 3 years. Like, because there's some things I'll buy on impulse, but like my antique clock that I bought for $85 at auction. Howie had it fixed for me and we just got it back, and it's a $300 clock and it cost us $185. And there's nothing quite like a key wound and then dong, 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 dong with a real bell, not an electronic one. And I don't even hear it at night because it's like part of my childhood. Okay, Lisa, grandson came home. Take care and have a great weekend. Thank you. So you have a Neato robotic one. Okay, how well do they do? Program 4 times a week, doesn't go under things, but helps with cat hair and a hubby. I've been thinking about those. Like, to me, buying a vacuum is like buying a car. Okay, you want to make sure it's going to do everything you need it to do. Like Howie, when I bought the Dodge Ram, it's a 4x4. It's got a 5.7 liter Hemi 8-cylinder engine or whatever the hell it is. It's got a short box, but it's got 4-wheel drive. And Howie's like, that's really expensive. After our last truck we rolled the last truck into the next truck into the next truck, and we owe a lot on our truck. He said maybe we could downsize and trade it in for a lower payment on, say, a Dodge Caravan. I said, do you really want to go back to a minivan? And he said, well, I miss the Chevy Venture like crazy. It was a great little van. I mean, that thing went to Arizona and back a couple of times. But it's like that, I said, Howie, the moment you get rid of a truck, you're going to want to go pick up firewood, pick up lumber or something, and you ain't doing it in a brand new minivan. I'm telling you that right now. So we were out getting firewood last weekend, and I said, aren't you glad we didn't get rid of the truck? And he said, mm-hmm. I said, enough said. But vacuums are like that. It's a purchase that I only make I buy cars more often than I buy vacuums. I have had that dirt devil for almost 20 years. And I'll tell you something, it doesn't owe me a nickel. But I made sure that I wasn't just buying, the cheapest or, stick vac that had all the things. The stick part comes out, the long hose, and you can put that little bugger, that little power bar head right on the thing and all over my couch, because I have a canvas IKEA couch and the lint brushes and stuff on the vacuum don't really work for that, but the power bar does, right? The floor, the dry floor thing works really, really well. The floor vacuum, I love it. I love it. I ain't buying another vacuum until that one dies. And it better not die for at least 20 years. I don't want to pay any more than $10 a year for my vacuum, Oh, an auto cleaning litter box. I've seen those. I'd actually consider having a cat if I could afford an auto cleaning litter box. Of course, it would have to go downstairs where the dogs don't go so that the cat can escape when it wants to. Dodge Caravans. Yeah, I thought about it. But you know what? My truck is my legs. My truck, my scooter. Yeah, they had sharks, and it was I checked before I went because I was looking at Canadian Tire, and the shark was on for $189 down from $289. And then I looked at Costco, and it was everyday price, $189. So I thought, well, why would I go to Canadian Tire and Costco when I can just go to Costco? And someone said they had coupons, but there were no coupons for the vacuum in Costco. But I'm pretty sure $189 was the sale price. But someone said 119, but that's American. And when you do the difference, it's probably about 189 is about right. So, well, thank you, Suburban. Thank you. Mindy, I have a 2004 F-150 4x4 and don't ever want to get rid of it. Fords are a good truck. My dad was a Ford man. And then he bought a Chevy, and he bought one built on a Monday or a Friday or something because it never wanted to go into second gear because my dad was a stick man. That's how I learned how to drive stick, was watching my dad. And I could do it again if I had to, but my left knee don't like the clutch. So Had to get rid of my truck. Loved it, but my little mini SUV works good. Can't go to auctions anymore. So, yeah, auctions. Oh, my clock is chiming. That's my electronic one. Anyway, so chapter 10 for Anne of Green Gables should be out by Monday. And my nose is stuffy, so I'm going to go make myself a hot honey and lemon tea after this. And I'm going to go sit down and watch my stories on Netflix until Daddy's done work in the shop, and then we'll watch our stories on Netflix. So, BRB, I have to give my cat some IV fluids. Oh, honey. Oh no. And the thing is I had someone recently when I did my crock pot chili video, and I had someone recently go, "Oh, your crock pot's a mess." And someone said, "Well, I think that's just peeling paint." She said, "No, that the handle's dirty." Well, the outside of the crock, I don't friggin' serve food in, for starters. But at the risk of having some snooty ass person tell me, oh, and she said, "Well," I said, "Look," I said, I answered back, said, "You're more than welcome to come and clean my kitchen. If that's what you want, I could use the help." And she said, "Well, I'm 62 years old and I'm disabled and I managed to look after my own kitchen just well, thank you. No, I don't need to do yours." And I said, "Well, then count yourself lucky, because I'm 55 and probably get around not as good as you, and I work 3 jobs. Why don't you try that?" Because she said, "I clean my kitchen. You should try it." I said, "I work 3 jobs. You should try it." Right? So, but where that was going was, I haven't been able to vacuum my area rug in a week. Now, the pile is that thick, and it is virgin wool from Greece. Okay, which means it's a lint brush for dog hair and threads, because I've been sewing and quilting and all this stuff. And I left it and I showed the carpet, said, "This is what my carpet looks like when I haven't been able to vacuum in a week. And we're going to test the shark." And I did. Fearless showed my messy dog haired carpet. Somebody wants some attention. Oh, Grace, easy, easy, easy. Okay, you ready? You want to go for a nap? You want to say, "Now I lay me down to sleep"? Okay, put your head down for praying. Put your head down. "Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my spirit to keep. If I die like a broken old fridge, I get to meet Mommy at the Rainbow Bridge. Amen." Can I have a kiss? All right. Oh, yes. You know what? It's your sister's turn. You can't see Frankie, folks. I'm going to see if you can. Here we go. Come here, Frankie. It's your turn. Frankie. Come here, Frankie. Frankie's in heat. She's almost done. No, she doesn't want anything to do. No. Sorry. Frankie doesn't want anything to do with us. Now she does. Too late. Moment has passed. Get your dust bunnies spayed and neutered. That's a good. They just multiply, eh? That's why they're called dust bunnies. Have you ever seen rabbits make out? It is the most hilarious thing I have ever seen. Because yes, I've bred rabbits. They go, and he literally falls off and goes. It's like somebody gave that rabbit a cigarette. It's like 3 seconds, and they fall off. I miss it. Oh, I don't know. I think I told them on our half-acre homestead, I'm going to get 6 fully grown laying hens in the spring, and I'm going to raise them in a little outdoor chicken coop, like a little city bitty hen house thing, just to get our eggs, our eggs. And then when they get really rolling, 6 eggs a day is a lot of eggs, right? I will oil them and put them away. And then at first sign of snow, the chickens, and they get pressure cooked and canned in broth. So that's going to be a yearly thing. No more overwintering livestock. And I think I'm going to get a couple of turkey poults and raise them next year. Anyway, yeah, Gracie's sweet, but she is entitled. I am her mummy. She has to have everything first. She has to be cuddled first. Frankie is not allowed to climb up and sit on me in my chair, even if Gracie's in Daddy's lap, a sound asleep. Frankie gets up on my chair. Gracie's like, "Hey, get off my mummy's lap." Frankie's like, but no, you know. I actually have some video on my phone, just like yesterday or Thursday, somewhere one day in the last couple of days. Frankie, I got them a new monkey, but it was a smaller one, and the paws were not big enough, and the arms pulled out, but they destroyed the monkey. I can't even show it to you, or they'll find it. But so all they have is these long stuffed things with paws on the ends. So, excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna go and have a hot cup of tea and watch TV. So I said to Gracie, I said, you give me that paw. You give me that toy. And so she brought it, and she's teasing me with it and bringing it and taking it back. And then finally I said, you give me that toy. You give me that thing. And she's like, yeah, maybe, you know. And then she starts talking back. I'm not giving it to you. This is my monkey. You could almost hear the words. So I said, you give me that friggin' toy. So you know what she did? She got up on the couch when she thought I wasn't looking. I'd turned my head back to the TV, and I watched her. I had my phone because I was recording it because it was just too funny. I had to turn the phone on. And normally when I start recording, Gracie just ignores it unless there's food involved, right? So I'm watching. I said, you give me that toy, right? What's she do? She goes up on the couch, tucks it down behind a cushion, and then pulls a ball out from behind the cushion and brings it to me like, here, you can have the ball. It's like, no. She's too smart. She's like borderline genius is my dog. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. It's been an hour. I have lots of data. I'm just not feeling very well. So I'm going to say this is Bev from Reading with Beverly Wolfe, or Mrs. Wolfe from Our Half Acre Homestead, or Bev from Cooking with Cannabis. Doesn't matter where you know me from. Okay? Just know that Anne of Green Gables will be returning on Monday, and I will do my best to keep 3 chapters a week coming until all 3 of the Anne books are done. All right? Take care. God bless. I need a vote right here, right now. Vote in the comments after this video is uploaded. What the hell was I going to need a vote on? Well, that's good. That's good medication, man. Oh, I need a vote on whether we should do book club once a week, twice a month, or once a month. If we should do this again and talk about the book we're reading at the time. Okay, we didn't get to do that with the other books. That's why we've been talking about Little House on the Prairie and A Tree Grows in Brooklyn and stuff. But if you want to do this, kind of a live stream, let me know. And next Saturday, if I'm home, we'll talk about the Anne series up to the point where we've read. Okay? Take care. God bless. I love you guys. Have a good day. I got to go take a Tylenol. I'm getting a nasty headache. Love you. Keep on reading.